Hello everyone. Welcome back to Flat Earth Channel, where you can access the latest US news. Let's start with some information from top candidates in Night 1. Puerto Rico Auto Progressives face off. Democratic debates, Night 1. Progressives face Senators Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and Bernie Sanders of Vermont will share the stage for the first time. One candidate will be making his presidential debate debut. And 5 candidates are desperate to make a splash. Here are the political dynamics to watch in Night 1 of the second round of debates. Marianne Williamson, author, 67, has written more than a dozen spirituality books and is running on a message of love and ending what she says is a low-level emotional civil war in the country. From the June debate, her unusual closing statement directed at Mr. Trump: "I'm going to harness love for political purposes. I will meet you on that field and, sir, love will win." National polling average, less than 1%. Tim Ryan, congressman from Ohio, 46, says he can win Midwestern states by appealing to working-class Trump voters, highlighting his plan to invest in renewable energy industries. From the June debate, we have got to change the center of gravity of the Democratic Party from being coastal and elitist and Ivy League, which is the perception. National polling average, less than 1%. Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota, 59, has emphasized her Midwestern background and taken a moderate tack on issues like health care and student debt. From the June debate, I just want to say there's 3 women up here that have fought pretty hard for a woman's right to choose, so I'll start with that. National polling average, 2%. John Hickenlooper, former governor of Colorado, 67, has emphasized his record of economic renewal and consensus building, arguing that progressive change is possible without a large expansion of government. From the June debate, the bottom line is, if we don't clearly define that we are not socialists, the Republicans are going to come at us every way they can and call us socialists. National polling average, 1%. Elizabeth Warren, senator from Massachusetts, 70, a former Harvard law professor, has released more policy proposals than any other candidate, including an ultramillionaire tax on assets above $50 million. From the June debate, when you've got an economy that is great for those with money and isn't doing great for everyone else, that is corruption, pure and simple. National polling average, 14%. Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Ind., 37, a former Navy Reserve intelligence officer, has been running on a message of generational change and proposing reforms like eliminating the Electoral College. From the June debate, his blame-accepting answer, rare for a politician, for not improving police diversity, because I couldn't get it done. National polling average, 5%. Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont, 77, a self-described democratic socialist, has brought progressive proposals like Medicare for all and tuition-free public college to the forefront of the race. From the June debate, on his signature Medicare for all proposal, yes, they will pay more in taxes, but less in health care for what they get. National polling average, 15%. Beto O'Rourke, former congressman from Texas, 46, has tried to build on the enthusiasm generated during his 2018 Senate bid against Ted Cruz, and has focused on climate change and immigration reform. From the June debate, our existential threat is climate change. We have to confront it before it's too late. National polling average, 2%. John Delaney, former congressman from Maryland, 56, a wealthy former financier, says he would prioritize existing bipartisan legislation in areas like criminal justice, immigration and health care upon taking office. From the June debate, 100 million Americans say they like their private health insurance, by the way. National polling average, 1%. Steve Bullock, governor of Montana, 53, has been highlighting his electoral success in a red state and focusing on campaign finance and government corruption. From the June debate, he did not make the first debate. National polling average, less than 1%, the marquee matchup. The two leading progressives will be standing side by side, but don't expect fireworks or fierce exchanges. Mr. Sanders and Miss Warren are close personally and ideologically. They actually met privately before they declared for 2020, and there is little indication that either sees any political advantage as of now in tearing at one another. In fact, when Mr. Sanders was asked recently what voters could expect from sharing the stage with Miss Warren, he gave a succinct answer: intelligence. Diverging fortunes. The fact that Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Ind., was the biggest fundraising star of the second quarter and former Representative Beto O'Rourke of Texas was the biggest disappointment captures the current trajectories of these two candidates. After a June debate performance that was poorly reviewed, Mr. O'Rourke's team has telegraphed that they relished the opportunity for voters to contrast him with Mr. Buttigieg. The two men are, in some ways, competing to be a younger, more moderate alternative to Mr. Biden. Millennial versus Boomer. He is 37. She is 70. The former Harvard student, Mr. Buttigieg, and former Harvard professor, Ms. Warren, have each won over many progressives, educated white progressives, in particular with their smarts on the campaign trail in recent months. They don't exactly hail from the same ideological corner of the party, though. Two of their most notable areas of potential disagreement are Medicare for All and free college tuition. Klobuchar versus Buttigieg and O'Rourke. In the June debate, Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota had some memorable one-liners like this one: "I don't think we should conduct foreign policy in our bathrobes at 5 in the morning." But she spent less time contrasting her more moderate approach to governance to the outlooks of her on-stage rivals. She has appeared frustrated that some of the male candidates have drawn big media attention, first Mr. O'Rourke, now Mr. Buttigieg, and this is a shot to grab some of that spotlight. The debate debut. This is Governor Steve Bullock of Montana. Don't recognize him? That's because he is the only new face on stage over both debate nights. He replaced Representative Eric Swalwell, who dropped out of the race this month. Mr. Bullock wants to make the most of his national introduction as a red state governor who carried Montana in 2016, even as President Trump won the state by 20 percentage points. The Mod Squad versus Sanders. Mr. Bullock, former Governor John Hickenlooper of Colorado, Representative Tim Ryan of Ohio, and former Representative John Delaney of Maryland, share something in common. The four moderates believe that Mr. Sanders' democratic socialist approach would risk getting Mr. Trump re-elected. Three of them hail from the nation's interior, Montana, Colorado and Ohio, and all four argue they have this special sauce to appeal to middle America. Can any one of them break through the din? The last-ditch effort. 5 candidates on stage on Tuesday have a viable, and in some cases, guaranteed, path to the third debate stage in September. But the other 5, author Marianne Williamson, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Hickenlooper, Mr. Delaney and Mr. Bullock are short of both the polling and donor thresholds needed to qualify. They all know that this debate is their best, if not their last, chance to upend the current dynamics in the race. The incentives for them to be aggressors are strong. And thanks for listening. Please subscribe our channel to update the latest news in America.